A poor girl sneaked into the boardroom, caused chaos, and made the CEO fall hopelessly in love. Before we begin the story, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Enjoy the story. Maggie Parker stood in front of the gleaming glass tower of Brooks Tech in San Francisco, looking like a country mouse lost in a concrete jungle. Her hoodie was frayed at the shoulders, her beat-up sneakers squeaked with every step, and her overstuffed backpack bulged with tacos from a nearby food truck, her last-ditch purchase with the final coins in her pocket. Uncle Jim, an old engineer who'd once worked here, had shoved a pitch-black USB into her hand, saying, "Get this to Ethan Brooks, the CEO. It'll change your life." Maggie nodded, picturing herself as some kind of 007, but now, staring up at the towering building, all she wanted was to scarf down her tacos and call it a day. "All right, I'm a girl on a mission," she muttered to herself, taking a deep breath before sneaking through the garage door meant for delivery trucks. But life isn't a movie. She got jammed in the freight elevator, flailing her arms and legs like a drunk octopus. A tub of salsa in her backpack popped open, spilling everywhere, the spicy stench rising like a warning siren for the chaos to come. Right then, her phone decided to blast a pop playlist from the golden age of TikTok, Baby Shark, echoing through the silence. A security guard yelled from a distance, "Freeze, taco girl!" Panicking, Maggie mashed every button she could reach, and the elevator shot upward like a rocket. The doors slid open, and Maggie stumbled out, slipping on the polished floor like an amateur ice skater. She crashed into the Brooks Tech boardroom, landing smack on the mile-long conference table, sending coffee splashing over laptops and papers. An old shareholder yelped, "What the hell?" Maggie tried to scramble up, but her foot snagged a power cord, nearly toppling the projector. She plugged the wrong cable into a wall outlet, sparks flying with a pop, 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 almost turning the big screen into a 4th of July display. The room held its breath, except for Ethan Brooks, the young CEO in a crisp gray suit, cool as an Arctic iceberg. He stood at the head of the table, staring at her like she'd just beamed down from Mars. Hi?" Maggie mumbled, brushing salsa off her hoodie while fumbling for the USB like it was a magic wand. "This is super important. Uncle Jim said to give it to you. Don't ask why I smell like tacos, okay?" She thrust the USB forward, but her shaky hands dropped it straight into a shareholder's coffee mug. Ethan raised an eyebrow, his sharp blue eyes scanning her from head to toe. She braced for a lecture or a call to security, but instead his lip twitched and a small laugh slipped out, brief but enough to stun the room. "Who are you? And how come I've never seen anyone crash land so gracefully?" he asked, his deep voice tinged with curiosity. Maggie scratched her head, grinning awkwardly. "Maggie Parker, delivery expert and accidental wrecking ball. This USB's top secret stuff, I think. Uncle Jim wasn't big on details." Ethan fished the USB out of the coffee, wiping it with his handkerchief, his gaze still locked on her. "Top secret, and they sent it with you," he murmured, but that rare smile lingered on his face. The boardroom buzzed with whispers. Who's she? New hire or intruder? Maggie had no clue, but she'd just stumbled through the door to a wild adventure and into the heart of San Francisco's iciest CEO. After her spectacular break-in to the boardroom, Maggie Parker figured she'd be dragged out by security like some action movie villain. But Ethan Brooks, the icy CEO of Brooks Tech, did the unthinkable. Holding the coffee-soaked USB, he sized her up from head to toe and declared, "You're hired. This company needs a shakeup, and you might just be the strongest dose I've ever seen." Maggie blinked, her jaw dropping like she'd hit the jackpot. "Huh? Intern? You mean I'm about to become some hotshot coder?" Ethan just smirked, saying nothing, but his eyes screamed, "You're a walking disaster, and I want to see where this goes." On her first day, Maggie strutted in with a backpack bigger than she was, stuffed to the brim with tacos and a spare tub of salsa for mid-shift emergencies, she told herself. She breezed through the Brooks Tech lobby, waving at employees like a Hollywood starlet. "Good morning, you gorgeous tech geniuses!" But 3 steps in, she tripped over a trash can, sending a cascade of soda cans clattering across the floor. Staff whispered, "Is she a genius or a natural disaster?" Maggie didn't care. She'd scored her own desk, a tiny corner by the photocopier, which she dubbed the Taco Queen's Palace. Her first task, brew coffee for the design team. Maggie bounded to the fancy espresso machine, but instead of a fragrant brew, she unleashed a geyser of black foam that sprayed the room like a mini volcano. Anyone up for a natural cappuccino?" She grinned sheepishly, wiping foam from her hair. Next, she was told to send a meeting announcement email. Instead of a professional memo, she attached a gif of a dog in a hat doing a jig, blasting it to all 500 employees. The office erupted in laughter, except for the HR manager who nearly fainted, muttering, "Who hired this girl?" It didn't stop there. At lunch, Maggie decided to heat her tacos in the pantry microwave. She mashed buttons at random, forgetting to remove the foil, and 3 minutes later, smoke billowed out, setting off the fire alarm with a deafening wail. Employees scrambled in chaos while Maggie stood in the haze, holding a charred taco, yelling, "Everything's under control, stay calm!" Security rushed in, but Ethan appeared just in time, taking in the scene like it was a comedy flick. Arms crossed, he said in his low voice, "You're the storm I didn't know I needed. But next time, ditch the foil, okay?" Maggie nodded, but his eyes sparkled with amusement. For the first time ever, he wasn't mad. He was hooked. Ethan started paying more attention to Maggie. Once, she accidentally spilled water on his pricey gray suit while delivering files. Panicking, she grabbed paper towels and scrubbed frantically, tearing the sleeve right off. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'll pay you back in tacos for life," she squeaked. Ethan just laughed, saying, "You're the priciest nightmare I've ever met. Keep the jacket. I like it better ripped." Nearby staff gaped. Ethan Brooks, the CEO who'd never cracked a smile longer than 3 seconds, was joking with the taco girl? Their dynamic leveled up when Ethan took Maggie to an off-site meeting in Silicon Valley. In the sleek limo, she sat beside him, her taco-filled backpack rustling non-stop. At the venue, she mistook a chubby investor for a delivery guy, slapping his shoulder. "Hey, delivery dude, hurry up! We're starving!" The guy froze, but the whole meeting, engineers to execs, burst out laughing. Ethan folded his arms, eyeing Maggie like a rough gem. "You just made the happiest investor of the year without a single PowerPoint slide. That's a rare talent." Bit by bit, Brooks Tech buzzed with new energy. Maggie didn't just wreak havoc, she brought something weird. Laughter. Staff murmured, "Is she a glitch or an upgrade?" Meanwhile, Ethan watched from his glass-walled office, realizing this clumsy girl with the taco backpack wasn't just a wrecking ball, she was the breeze he never knew he craved. And that rustling backpack? It was about to shake up his perfect little world. Maggie Parker was starting to get the hang of life at Brooks Tech. Or rather, she'd gotten used to turning everything into a taco-strewn battlefield and still making it through the day. She took pride in her little desk by the photocopier, now decked out with dried taco shells and a plastic pig pen holder. Pure Maggie style, she told herself. Ethan Brooks, the frosty CEO in his gray suit, was warming up to her presence too, even keeping the torn jacket she'd ruined as a keepsake. But the peaceful tech office in San Francisco was about to get flipped upside down again, and this time it wasn't because of tacos. On a cloudy Tuesday morning, the elevator doors slid open, and Claire Hudson strutted in like she'd just stepped off a New York Fashion Week runway. Her bright red high heels clacked against the floor. Her designer handbag sparkled like a disco ball, and her pricey perfume wafted through the air, making a few coders sneeze nonstop. She paused in the middle of the lobby, sliding her sunglasses down her nose, and announced, "Ethan can't live without me. I'm his future. You're all just outdated code. The staff froze, holding their breath. Maggie, mid-bite into a taco nearby, looked up and whispered to the IT guy next to her, "Who's that?" Some queen who wandered in from a superhero flick? The guy went pale. "Claire Hudson, the boss's ex-fiancée. Drama's about to hit the fan." Claire didn't waste a second. She marched straight to Ethan's office, brushing past the receptionist yelling, "You need an appointment!" Maggie, with her deadly curiosity, tailed her quietly, clutching a cup of lemonade as a cover. Inside, Claire crossed her arms, her voice sugary but sharp as a blade. "Ethan, you need me. This company, everything belongs to me." Ethan glanced up from his laptop, cool as ever. "Claire, I've made it clear. We're done." She smirked, catching Maggie peeking through the door. "Done? Then what's that taco backpack girl out there? You've downgraded from me to a klutz?" Maggie overheard it all and barged right in, giving herself a grand title. "I'm Maggie Parker, Brooks Tech's Special Strategic Assistant, expert in optimizing, productivity." She faked being busy, pulling out her phone and tapping randomly, but her shaky hands dropped it straight into her lemonade, splashing it all over Claire's outfit. Claire shrieked, "How dare you! This dress is worth more than your trashy backpack." Maggie shrugged. "Well, at least my backpack's got tacos. Your dress has lemonade now. Even trade, right?" Ethan covered his mouth, stifling a laugh, but his eyes lit up like he'd just spotted a gem in the chaos. The drama didn't end there. Claire, hell-bent on winning Ethan back, hired a paparazzo to shadow him and Maggie. One day in the pantry, Maggie was chowing down on a taco, telling Ethan how she once spilled ketchup all over her cat. He sat beside her, chuckling. A rare sight. Snap. A camera flash flared from the window. The next day, Twitter exploded with photos. Maggie with salsa smeared on her face, Ethan grinning next to her, captioned, "Cold CEO and mystery intern, Brooks Tech love story." The internet lost it. Number taco love shot to the top of the trends. Maggie wasn't about to back down. She grabbed her phone and filmed a self-roasting video. "Hey world, I'm Maggie, and this is my boss, Ethan Brooks. I'm not real, just a salsa-fueled fever dream." She held up a taco, fake proposing to Ethan. "Marry me, gray suit guy?" Then toppled off her chair, cackling. The video spread like wildfire, racking up comments. "She's the realest person alive." "Ethan's laughing, miracle alert." Claire watched it, her face turning as red as her heels, teeth grinding. "Who does she think she is barging in like that?" Ethan called Maggie into his office, showing her the trending pics on his phone. "You've got the whole world thinking I'm in love with tacos?" Maggie scratched her head. "Well, loving tacos isn't so bad, right, boss?" Ethan crossed his arms, his gaze softening. "Not bad. But next time, don't fall off a chair in front of a million people, okay?" Maggie beamed. "No promises." From afar, Claire watched them through the glass door, clutching her handbag tight. She hissed under her breath. "She wants to play? Fine, I'll show them both what a fashion inferno looks like." And with that, the war between tacos and stilettos officially kicked off. Maggie Parker had turned Brooks Tech into a never-ending comedy show, from charred tacos in the microwave to self-trolling videos that took Twitter by storm. Ethan Brooks, the stone-faced CEO once known for his lack of emotion, was now laughing more in a week than he had all year, thanks to the salsa-stuffed backpack girl. But Claire Hudson, with her red stilettos and an ego taller than the Brooks Tech Tower, wasn't about to stand by and watch Taco Girl steal Ethan away. She decided to land a knockout punch, and this time, it wasn't just perfume or snarky jabs. It all blew up on a cloudy Thursday morning. Maggie had just walked into the office, a fresh taco in hand, when HR summoned her like a suspect in a lineup. She shuffled into a small meeting room, facing three stern folks in black suits, one clutching a thick stack of papers. "Maggie Parker, right?" the head of HR asked, her voice icy as a slab of granite. Maggie nodded, finishing her taco bite. Yep, that's me. Coffee spilling, salsa eating pro. What's up? The woman slid the papers forward. We got an anonymous tip. You're suspected of being a tech spy, using a rival's USB to sabotage Brooks Tech. Maggie spat salsa across the table, yelling, What? A spy? I can't even format an email. How am I spying on anything? The truth was, Claire had dug up dirt on that USB Maggie delivered on day one. Turns out, Uncle Jim, who'd roped her into this, used to work for a competitor, and the USB held AI code stolen from Brooks Tech 2 years back. With help from a hired hacker, Claire faked emails from Maggie to the execs, framing her for planting malware to tank the company. She's a threat, Claire declared at an emergency shareholder meeting, waving her iPad like it was the smoking gun. Maggie, slumped in the corner, mumbled, I just eat tacos. Malware's way too fancy for me. Ethan caught wind of it and stormed into the meeting. Arms crossed, he stared Claire down. Maggie's not slick enough to be a spy. She can't even spill coffee on my suit without making a mess. Hacking's out of the question. The room roared with laughter, all except Claire, whose face matched her crimson heels. He turned to Maggie. Got anything to say? She stood, hands trembling. I swear, I only brought that USB for Uncle Jim because he promised me a month of tacos. I don't know squat about AI or code. Ethan nodded. I believe her. But someone's playing dirty. Claire didn't let up. She sent anonymous emails to tech blogs, branding Maggie an inside saboteur and Ethan her puppet. Rumors spread like wildfire. Brooks Tech's stock nosedived, and employees whispered, Is she really a spy? Maggie, hugging her taco backpack by the photocopier, grumbled, I just want good food. Why's my life a spy thriller now? But she wasn't about to sit tight. With help from Dave, the shy IT guy who'd crushed on her since the dog GIF email fiasco, she hatched a plan to flip the script. Dave hacked into Claire's old chats, unearthing messages where she paid a hacker to forge the emails. Better yet, he dug up a gem, a clip from a company party 2 years ago, where a drunk Claire stood on a table slurring, I only love Ethan for the company shares. If he wasn't loaded, I'd have dumped him ages ago. Maggie grinned ear to ear. This is pure gold, Dave. Time to go big. They schemed to hijack Claire's upcoming Zoom shareholder meeting, where she planned to unveil her proof against Maggie. The day arrived. Claire stood in a swanky meeting room, oozing confidence. Maggie Parker's a menace and Ethan's too blind to see it. But mid-speech, the big screen flickered, switching to the clip of Claire's drunken confession. The room went dead silent, then erupted in laughter like a tidal wave. Claire screamed, Turn it off, it's fake! Maggie strolled in, taco in hand, shrugging. Fake? Not when you spilled it on a table yourself. Talk about double standards, lady. Dave, from the corner, flashed a thumbs up. Live streams at 1 million views, Maggie. Claire's face drained of color as she bolted out, her heels clacking one last time before she vanished. After the showdown, Ethan pulled Maggie up to the Brooks Tech rooftop, San Francisco's lights twinkling below. He looked at her, voice low. You saved the company with your sheer craziness. I owe you a huge thank you. Maggie grinned, holding up her taco. Thank me by eating this with me? Ethan took it, bit in, then leaned down and kissed her, quick, but enough to freeze her in place. Whoa, boss! You just kissed me in a salsa storm? She yelped, dropping the taco onto the street below, where it bonked a cyclist on the head. He looked up, shouting, Who's pranking me? Ethan burst out laughing. Welcome to your world, Maggie. That night, under the stars and city hum, Maggie knew she wasn't just a clumsy intern anymore. She was the whirlwind that woke Ethan Brooks's heart. But would Claire give up? Not a chance. After her epic Zoom takedown, Maggie Parker officially became a legend at Brooks Tech. Claire Hudson vanished from San Francisco, leaving behind her red stilettos and a shattered ego, while the company's stock bounced back faster than Maggie could spill a taco. Ethan Brooks, the icy CEO who once lived in a world of gray suits and spreadsheets, couldn't imagine a day without the laughter of his salsa backpack girl. The office buzzed like never before. Employees left tacos on Maggie's desk as thank yous, and Dave from IT even crafted her a Chaos Queen badge. But Ethan didn't just want Maggie as an intern or company hero. He wanted her as a bigger part of his life. After that rooftop kiss amid falling salsa, he started plotting a proposal. No roses or fancy restaurants. That wasn't Maggie's vibe. Ethan spent 3 sleepless nights tearing his hair out for ideas, finally landing on it. It had to involve tacos, it had to be wild, and it had to be pure Maggie. On a Friday morning, Maggie strolled into Brooks Tech, her backpack rustling as usual. But something was off. The hallway was eerily empty, except for a trail of taco shells leading from the door to the big meeting room. Curious, she picked them up, reading the notes stuck to each one. To the girl who spilled coffee on day 1. To the one who turned the pantry into a war zone. To the storm I can't live without. She giggled, muttering, "Who's got time for this?" The taco trail ended at the meeting room door. Maggie pushed it open and froze. The room was a taco wonderland, trays stacked into a giant heart on the conference table, bright red salsa glowing like holiday lights. Employees lined the walls, phones up recording, Dave shouting, "Seal the deal, Maggie!" Ethan stood in the heart's center, ditching his vest for a plain white shirt, holding a taco like a mic. He looked at her, grinning awkwardly. "I'm no good at romance, but I'm great at picking people who turn my life upside down." Maggie hollered, "Is this a love confession or a plot to fatten me up so I can't run away?" Ethan knelt amid the crunching taco shells. "Maggie Parker, you spilled coffee, set off alarms, and melted me. Marry me?" Maggie's jaw dropped, tears streaming as she grabbed a taco and took a quick bite. "Yes, 1,000 times yes, but the wedding's gotta have a taco bar." She tackled him in a hug so hard they toppled into the taco pile, salsa splattering his shirt like fireworks. The staff cheered wildly, Dave yelling, "Peak number taco love right there." Ethan kissed her amid the laughter, whispering, "The wedding's gonna be crazier than this." The big day went down at Golden Gate Park. No ritzy venues or red carpets. Maggie wanted it simple and fun. She rocked a white dress she'd dyed herself, streaked with salsa from a slip-up during prep, while Ethan wore a light-colored suit, grinning ear to ear. Guests tossed taco shells instead of flowers, turning the park into a Mexican food battlefield. Maggie walked the aisle to an acoustic Sweet Caroline, her special request, but tripped on her dress, nearly face-planting if Ethan hadn't caught her. "Told you I can't walk straight," she cackled. During the vows, Maggie snatched the mic from the officiant. "I'm the clumsiest girl alive. I spilled coffee on my boss, set off alarms with tacos. But he looks at me like I'm his whole world. So yeah, I want to mess up his life every day." Ethan laughed, replying, "I had a perfect plan till you showed up and wrecked it all. And I love that. I want to laugh with you forever." They kissed, a taco tumbling from Maggie's pocket to the ground, promptly snatched up by a guest's dog. The reception was perfect chaos. Maggie kicked off the dance with an offbeat twist, Ethan stepping on her toes trying to keep up. The 3-tiered white cake got sliced with a plastic spoon that snapped in half. Maggie shouted, "Use your hands! Who needs knives?" Guests toasted with soda instead of champagne, and at the end, Maggie climbed a chair, nearly toppling. "Thanks for coming to the wildest wedding ever. Ethan, you're the CEO of my heart." He steadied her, whispering, "And you're the storm of my life." Under the Golden Gate moonlight, taco shells raining down, Maggie and Ethan knew they weren't perfect, but their love with salsa, laughter, and a dash of mayhem was the best thing they'd ever had. So, what did you think of Maggie and Ethan's wild ride? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. On a scale from 0 to 10, how many tacos would you rate this story? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any more of our crazy, heartwarming adventures. And hey, craving more tales of love and chaos? Click right here on the final screen for more stories that'll warm your heart faster than a fresh batch of salsa-drizzled tacos.